What's going on, everybody? Coach Andrew here. Just wanted to do this little YouTube episode kind of as a special one off, debating whether or not I want to put this in the podcast, but it's going to go up on the channel anyways. I just hopped off of a client conversation, a really powerful client conversation, talking about profit, income, struggled action, just kind of a bunch of things. So I want to really open up this conversation because to start, this coach that I'm working with, they have a very large business. It actually makes about $3 million a year, which is more than me, which is, an interesting kind of thing to feel through as you work with people who are in different kind of financial spots. The big difference though with this company is not making profit right now. And so when we hopped on a call, we do a lot of things inside of Coach to Coach, like brainstorming, helping people look through their content, looking at their funnel systems, trying to see where in their teams they need to make adjustments with, and all of this, of course, is so that way you can like get more clients, have a bigger income, make a bigger impact. Like that's a big thing. But where I feel like a lot of coaches get stuck sometimes is they get caught in this, kind of initial trap, which is people are like, well, my definition of success is I have to make more income, I have to make more money, and I have to have profit. If I don't have those three things inside of my business, then I'm a failure as a coach, I'm a failure as a business owner. And I don't know where this came from. I don't know if it's borrowing expectations from others or maybe, past coaches. That's kind of how they led their spaces or their containers. But I will say this, there is so much more to building a coaching company, and actually building a successful coaching company doesn't always have to necessarily be about money, although you can continue to build your income and build your revenue. So the reason why I share this is because the conversation started first with all of the actions that this client is doing. And like many of you guys as coaches, and something that I was really guilty of in my past businesses, is I was the type of person who took 100% action. I took fast action on everything. I jumped at new opportunities. I did new funnels. I did new content. I was the first to hop on different types of webinars or seminars. And I kept on taking action, 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 action. And action is important. Like action, I believe, is a part of discipline. It's something that you have to step into every single day, and you actually have to work to make adjustments to put effort into your business. And action is an important part of life. You can't expect to see a result if you don't take any action. Like, let's be real, the life's not going to happen for you. You have to go out, get it, and do the things. But there is a difference between action and struggled action. And this is where a lot of coaches get caught in the weeds, where they're finding themselves doing a lot of things in the business that they have a high amount of resistance for, that they feel a high amount of overwhelm with. And that's because the action that they're actually taking or the action that they're working on daily is not aligned with them whatsoever. Action alignment is so important. And I had a mentor in the past share with me kind of two types of energies that you need balanced out in your life and in your business in order for you to take action that actually feels good. So the first is discipline. Like I shared, it's just straight action. Think of discipline like, hey, you just need to get the hell to work and take the action, take the steps, do the thing, post a piece of content, promote every day. And that's something that you have to do. But there is another energy, and the energy is called compassion. You see, we need to have compassion for ourselves to recognize that what we are doing is sometimes enough, that we can't fast track the process or rush the process of building our businesses. And just like some clients will come to you inside of your coaching and they'll say, can I do more? Can I exercise even more? Can I do this? And you're like, no. If you do more exercise, it's overtraining. If you continue to strip more calories, you put yourself in a danger zone. You have to show them compassion. And there are two people that operate from different things, and this is kind of the masculine and the feminine energy. Masculine people, or the masculine energy, I don't want to say masculine people, the masculine energy tends to operate from action, logic, reason. If I do more, I get more results. If I implement more, I'm going to see a faster result. And if you look at the other side, it's compassion. These are the people who take the time, they're super intentional, but sometimes they're like, well, I'm only going to do something if it feels right. I'm only going to do something if I'm 100% in alignment with it. It has to feel a certain way. And they lean in with 100% of their emotions. Both are important. If you have a person who only takes action, but the action isn't intentional, it's rushed, it's not thought out inside a business, then they're going to spend a lot of time in their business undoing some of the choices they made because they didn't take enough time actually seeing if the choice felt right. So, as an example for me, when I first built my business, I had a mentor who told me you have to cold call and DM people. It's got to be a minimum of 150 messages a day. And I freaking hated that. I hated the fact that the only way that I could build my business based off of what I knew and saw from other people was I had to cold call and cold DM. It didn't feel genuine to me. It didn't feel in alignment with me. It was something that it really, like, every time I went to do it, I was very overwhelmed. I felt very salesy and very pushy. But to me, I was like, okay, action, 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 started doing all of that. And what I would get is a lot of ghostings, a lot of people telling me, screw you, buddy, hang up the phone. And it left me feeling discouraged, and it actually built a business that I did not like at the very end. And I had to dismantle that entire business, my studio, and then I had to restart and do it from a place of alignment. So taking action is not necessarily the thing that you want to do every single day. Yes, there are some actions in your business that are non-negotiables, of course, but in reality, you want action that's mixed with intention. Now, let me share with you kind of the absolute opposite, which is someone who just has compassion. Someone who just leads through compassion is someone who is basically like an emotional pity party of one. I'd love to do something, but I don't feel it today. It doesn't feel right. I'm very overwhelmed, or I'm just going to spend more time feeling it through. And what happens is they spend way too much time in the thinking and being, and they never actually take action on anything. So we see this a lot in the coaching industry with our clients when we're like, okay, so you've been struggling with this for 4 years. What have you done about it? And they're like, nothing. And you're like, well, what do you mean? And then there's the victim, the excuses, the story that they've created, and that goes in compassion. Now, if you lean 100% into compassion, then that means as a coach, you would validate their story. They would be okay, feel a little bit better with what they're doing or not doing, and then they would stay stuck. So it's not enough to have compassion where we have to feel for it, and it's not enough where we just take action with no feeling. We need both. And so the coach that I was working with on this call, we had the conversation, and I was just point blank, and I was like, look, you're doing a lot of action, which is phenomenal. You've made a lot of commitments. You've made a lot of decisions that has built your business as far as it can be. But you're spending a lot of time undoing a lot of past decisions because you're moving way quicker than you actually being in line with that decision. And this is where I told him you have to sometimes take a step back, and you actually have to sit with something and say to yourself, is this actually something that I want? What is my why behind this? What is the purpose behind me doing this? Because when we make a commitment in life and in our business, the universe is going to find ways to show you that that commitment is either not for us, or that it's going to show us that we have to choose that commitment daily. So as an example, in my life, I've committed to 3 really big things this year. I committed to writing my book, which I've never been an author before. I've committed to 2 TEDx stages, so I have to build out the speaking and engagements and doing all of that. And I've committed to my Meant to Grow event, which now I want to have 50 people from the 8 people that I had at the very beginning. Those are very big commitments. The Meant to Grow event is going to take 6 months of my time. Writing a book is going to take 8 months of my time. And hopping on the 2 speaking engagements, that's going to be an entire year's journey. I've committed for 12 months. On top of that, I'm still running my business and supporting all of my coaches. So if someone comes to me with a new opportunity and they say, hey, Andrew, I'd love you to be a part of this event, it is not in alignment with what my commitments are already existing, although it might be something new and exciting and I may see a potential from it, it's actually going to detract from what I'm doing already. It's going to pull me away from my intentions. And then I'm going to either have to make it up with late nights or going off of my routine, or even worse, I might end up doing it and not feel good about it and then say, shit, I shouldn't have wasted that time. I should have stuck with the same thing that I was doing. So because I was very intentional with what I chose, it is easy for me to say the word no, and I say the word no very frequently. I've declined 2 speaking engagements because they line up exactly with my Meant to Grow event, and I don't want to have anything around that time. I had people from the TEDx stage encourage me to try to change my talk, and I said, no, I don't want to do that because I know exactly what I want to talk about and who I want to speak to. So this conversation and sharing the aspect of having the compassion to be intentional and also taking action, you have to have a blend of both inside of your business. Which leads me to then this second part, this aspect of profit or taking on somebody else's goals. As a coach, it is your responsibility to filter information that mentors and coaches give you, and you have to build your own brand your own way. I shared on the last podcast episode, like there are sometimes I don't listen to my coaches, but most importantly, I take their information, I decide what's for me, and then I say what I'm going to keep and what I'm not going to keep. I don't do everything on a whim just because someone made this suggestion. I filter that. And just like I filter the information that they're giving me, I also have to filter the goals that are being given. I'm not going to set a goal because everyone believes that that's what the expectation is. So if someone's like, well, the only way you can be a successful business owner is to have 40% profit, I'm not going to set that as my benchmark because that's not in alignment with me. Truth be told, in running the successful business that I have now, generating that $1.1 million in revenue, I never looked at what my profit margin was. I didn't care. I made the money I wanted. I served the people I wanted. I got to do everything that I needed. I was able to buy a rental property. We were able to travel. And so that's what mattered to me. My benchmarks are different. Just like inside of my business, I have metrics, but I don't look at them every day. Some business coaches might tell you, what are your close rates? Truthfully, it doesn't matter if you have so many leads and people coming in and self-signing that if people say no, it's okay. So I don't use close rates as a benchmark because for me, if you have 30 people coming in every single month, consistently month over month, who gives a shit what your close rate is? It really doesn't matter. There are some things that people will tell you matters for your success to build your coaching business. You need to make X money and you'll fall in the trap of $1 million or 100K months or multi 6 figures or 50K months. Some coaches don't care about that. Some coaches, that's not even something that they focus on. They just want to work with 100 people or 200 people in a group coaching program. Some coaches, they only want to take on 20 people a year. And they're like, you know what? I want these people to pay me 30 to 40K each and I make 250K and I'm good with where I'm at. There are some coaches who just want enough money to be able to travel. They live a very nomadic lifestyle and they keep reinvesting in themselves. There's no right or wrong way to do this. And that's the most important thing that I shared with my client on the call is I was like, look, you can build your business your own way. But if you're saying to yourself, I'm not profitable this year because I made a bunch of decisions that are going to make me exponentially profitable in 5 years, that doesn't make sense. If you're saying to yourself, I'm taking all of this action, but I'm not fully lined up with some of the actions I'm taking, that also doesn't make sense. So what we need to do is we need to line ourselves up between having the compassion to say, hey, look, we're doing our best. We want to be intentional with this stuff. We're doing enough every day, and have that aspect of discipline where we're actually putting in the work, where we're posting regularly, we're promoting regularly, we're delivering value regularly, we're helping our clients regularly, because it has to be a balance act. But all of this, and I'll finish this episode off, all of this comes down to trust. You have to trust that the best bet on your business is going to be you. Like the reason why I pick and choose what to apply from my mentors is because I'm betting on me. Everything that I've done in my coaching career, everything I've done in my life, everything I've worked towards always worked when I put intention behind it, when I commit myself with action, and when I said I'm going to do it my way. Other people's ways never worked for me. And if I know that I will always be okay, if I trust that if I raise my price and a client leaves, another client will take its place, if I trust that if I'm building a business and I don't do consultations, that people will still reach and sign up, I have to have the trust. There has to be upfront trust, trust in myself, trust in my process, trust in my programs, and then trust in the universe that the universe is going to provide, that I am going to have people reaching out, that my content is going to find its way to the right people. And this is how I operate every single day. So, of course, in sharing that, my client was like, you know what? I'm recognizing all I do is action. That's all I do. I take action because I feel that's the thing that's going to move me forward, but I haven't actually stopped and gave myself compassion and took that time to say, well, what have I committed to? Am I doing enough already so I can start saying no to some things? And when I brought up the trust, he was like, you know what? The reason why I don't feel comfortable hitting my profit, and I found out he actually is making profit. He's making 10%, but he's like, but I don't feel comfortable with that because people in my industry say 30% is the norm. And I was like, you know what? It's all dependent on the individual. Some people could have a team of 30 and 30% profit might not make sense. Some people could have a team of 2 and say make 30% profit. But their expenses are different. The way they've built their business is different. Their delivery is different. Their programs, their processes are different. So we can't compare. We can't just pull someone else's goals, expect them to be our goals, and expect them to be in total alignment with us. So I wanted to share that with you guys because I think it's very important that even as these calls come up, that I share them so that way you can understand it's not just always about building content. Here's the next funnel. What do I do to make my next promotion? That's not actually the majority of the conversations that coaches have with their mentors day to day. The conversations that we have is beliefs. It's understanding sometimes that you are doing the right things and you don't need to do more. It's refinement of your purpose and your why, and it's gaining clarity and trust so that way when you are doing things, they're going to benefit you 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, and it's not something you have to redo or break down in your business. Because I've done a lot of breaking down. Guys, this is my 4th business. And I didn't do the other 3 right. They made money, but they didn't make me happy. And that's different. It feels different. Now I can say I love coaching business owners. I love coaching and working with you guys because I made the decision to be intentional with how I was going to build this business. Now I don't take anything on if it doesn't align with the 3 values. If it's not going to be something that carries the message to my book, it's a no. If it's not going to be something that contributes to my event meant to grow, it's a no. If it doesn't lead me to get more speaking engagements, it's a no. And if it doesn't allow me to serve you guys as coaches better in your environment, well, then that's a hell no. It doesn't make any sense. And I can stand in confidence because I have this trust. So that's all for this episode, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more episodes just like this where I'm going to be sprinkling them in as these conversations happen to show you more of the behind the scenes and the conversations that I'm having with the clients. So that is all for this episode, guys. We will catch you later. See ya.